Hi there, maybe you remember ZIM. This company was paying a huge dividend in the past, over 100%. You can easily see that the stock price is now about $10 per share. And in the past, ZIM was paying more than $10 per share in dividends. As you can see, in 2020 they paid $70 per share, and the stock price is now $10. That's why the dividend was over 100%. And in the last quarters, as you can see, their dividends were quite high. Over $6 per share, $2, $4, $2, and so on. If you add them all, the dividend was over 100%. And ZIM was able to pay that huge dividend because of freight rates. If you look at this chart, the history of freight rates for containers, you can see that the freight rates in 2020 were about $10,000. And because those rates have decreased, also the profits of ZIM have declined, and they weren't able to pay that huge dividend, over $10 per share. But as you can see, in just 2 months, more recently, the stock price has almost doubled. This is an amazing performance. And that happened because, as you can see here, for the last 2 years, or better, 1 year, freight rates have started to go up. They went from 1,000 to over 3,000 in the last 2 months, as you can see here. December 2023, freight rates were about 1,000, and in February about 3,000. And that's why the stock price went up a lot, almost a double in just 2 months. So as you can see, it's quite obvious that the stock price follows those freight rates. When they go up, the stock price goes up. When they go down, as you can see in March, freight rates were about 3,000, and then more recently they have declined to 2,000, 2,500. And the same thing happened to the stock price. It has declined by 27%, almost 30%. So if you are planning to invest in this company and you hope for another huge dividend like this, over $10 per share, then this may be possible. And of course, your dividend will be quite huge, over 100%. But as I said, this will be possible only if freight rates keep going up. I mean, if you have, again, this price for freight rates over 9,000 or 10,000, then you can easily get a huge dividend over 100%. This may happen if more problems occur with shipping companies. Maybe there is another shortage and freight rates may go up in the short term, as it happened in 2021 during the pandemic, then in 2023 because of some problems in the Red Sea, and this might happen again in the future. And when they happen, freight rates go up and also the stock price goes up. So the next question is ZIM a great buy at the current level? The market cap of 1.3 billion, almost 1.3 billion. Well, you also have to look at the latest report. They reported the results for the full year 2023. And as you can see, the revenue was about 5 billion and their net loss of 2.6 billion. Plus, you can also look at their outlook for the full year 2024. They expect adjusted EBIT to be between a loss of 300 million or positive earnings of 300 million. It's hard for them to predict the future because everything depends, their earnings depend on the future freight rates. If they go up, then ZIM may make 300 million in profits. And if that happens, if ZIM makes 300 million in profits, as you probably know, this company ZIM has a dividend policy to pay 50% of their earnings in dividends. So if ZIM succeeds to make 300 million in earnings, let's say, maybe freight rates will go up in the near term, then you might get 150 million in dividends. So as the market cap is about 1.3 billion, your dividend may be about 11%. If, only if, ZIM makes 300 million in profits, their final net income. So if that happens, because as you can see their guidance, they might make a loss or a profit, depending on the freight rates. If that happens, you will get a dividend about 11% from ZIM, and the stock price will go up if freight rates will continue to rise. So this may be a good upside for you if you like this business. But you also have to be aware that their outlook is that they might expect a loss of 300 million. And if that happens, then you won't get any dividend and the stock price will continue to be about the same or decline even more if freight rates continue to go down more. As you can see in the last 3 months, they have continued to go down from 3,000 to about 2,000. So if they go back to 1,000, and this may be likely to happen, then the stock price of ZIM will decline to $7. From $10, it might go down to $7 or even less, depending on the freight rates. Of course, I don't expect quite low freight rates to be less than 1,000, but be aware that in the past those freight rates were about 1,000. So if those rates stay above this level, 1,000, then ZIM won't be a great investment for you at the current level. Even though ZIM has a lot of assets on their balance sheet. As you can see, their total assets are about 8.3 billion. You can see here, 8.3 billion. Of course, those are reported in millions. And if you convert them, is 8.3 billion. And as you can see, the market cap is about 1.3 billion. So you might say that ZIM is quite a bargain. But don't forget about their liabilities, which are more than 4.8 billion. So the total equity is about 2.4 billion, higher than the market cap. So you might say that you can buy this company below the book value, as Graham did in the past. But be aware that those assets, especially their vessels and containers, are not their real assets. They lease them. And as you can see, lease liabilities are about 3.2 billion in the short term and 1.6 billion in the long term. So you can forget about their assets. You can't rely on them because they lease most of their assets. And they report those leases as if they are their own assets. But they aren't. This is their accounting rule. So you have to be careful. Now, as you've seen, their past performance for the full year 2022 and for the full year 2023, the difference is only the freight rates, because the volume is about the same, over 3,000. The difference is just their freight rates, the average freight rate. In 22 was about 3,000 and in 2023 about 1,000. In 22 they were able to make 4 billion in profits. Be aware of this, 4 billion in profits. Pay attention to this, 4 billion in profits. Only net income. And now the market cap is about 1.3 billion. So if ZIM can achieve the same performance as they did in 2022, then you can have 4x on an investment, even more than that. But now, as you can see in 2023, they reported a loss over 2.6 billion. And that's why you have to be aware of those freight rates. If you can predict them, I mean the next shortage, then you can make a lot of money, as it happened in the past. But this is just guessing, a bet, speculation. And you don't want to speculate when investing. You only want to make a profit based on real facts when the risk is low and the upside is quite high. So that's it for this video, and if you have other questions, please let me know in the comments.